So we've seen before that if you have two sentences and you want to connect them, you use something called a connective, and that will form a compound sentence. And the connectives we've seen so far have been conjunctions, which use and as the connective, and disjunctions, which use or as the connective. So now we're going to learn about a new connective, and this is called a conditional. So here's a sentence, she passes the test. Here's another sentence, I will buy her a puppy. And the connective is going to be if, then. So we're going to kind of use each of these words in a different place. And so here's how it works for the compound sentence. If she passes the test, then I will buy her a puppy. So the notation here works like this. If we say P represents she passes the test, and Q represents I will buy her a puppy, then we use an arrow to represent the conditional, if and then. So P and then the arrow Q would represent if she passes the test, then I will buy her a puppy. Two simple sentences that are combined using the words if and then form a compound sentence called a conditional. And the placement of the if and the then does matter. We would have the if in the beginning, and then the sentence represented by P. Then we have the then, and then the sentence represented by Q. So how do we determine the truth value of a conditional? Well, let's look at our sample sentence. If she passes the test, then I will buy her a puppy. And we'll look at all the possible options using a tree diagram. So first we have P could be true or P could be false. So let's start with P being true and suppose Q is true. So she passes the test is true, and I buy her a puppy. Well, I didn't lie. If she passed the test, then I'll buy her a puppy, and I did buy her a puppy. So we would say that the conditional here is true. Suppose she passes the test, but I don't buy her a puppy. Well, then I broke my promise, so I would say the conditional here is false. How about if she didn't pass the test, but I still bought her a puppy? Well, this one's a little bit sneaky. I didn't say anything about what would happen if she didn't pass the test, so I didn't break my promise, so I would say that the conditional is still true. And suppose she didn't pass the test, I didn't buy her a puppy, I didn't break my promise, the conditional is still true. So we see that the conditional is false only when P is true and Q is false. So here's our tree diagram. We could also look at this in terms of a truth table. So I have P, Q, and then the conditional. And so I look at all the possible values. So first we have they're both true, and we saw that that made the conditional true. When P was true and Q was false, we saw that the conditional was false. And then when P was false and Q was true, we saw the conditional was true. And when they're both false, the conditional is still true. Notice that order matters. P and the conditional of P and then Q, and then if you have the reverse order, Q and then P, they could have different truth values. For instance, imagine looking at this row right here. So we have P is true and Q is false. So if we have true and then a false here, that would give us a false. But if we reverse the order, if we had a false and then a true, that gave us a true. So those truth values are different. So the order does matter. There's some terminology that you should be aware of. So here is our sample sentence. And this first part here, she passes the test, the thing represented by P, we call that either the premise, the hypothesis, or the antecedent. And then the thing represented by Q, I will buy her a puppy, that we call either the conclusion or the consequent. There's some alternative phrasing that you might see here. So we have our conditional. We could say if P then Q, that's what we're used to. So if she passes the test, then I will buy her a puppy. But we could also say Q if P. Notice the order here. The Q is first and then the P. So if we wanted to rewrite that, it would say I will buy her a puppy if she passes the test. That's the exact same thing as the line above. If she passes the test, then I will buy her a puppy. These are the same thing, just written in a different way. And here's another way to say it. P implies Q. She passes the test implies I will buy her a puppy. Or we could say if P, Q. If she passes the test, I will buy her a puppy. And there are other possibilities as well, so you have to be on the lookout with conditionals. With conjunctions and disjunctions, it was pretty clear when you had one of those, but with a conditional, sometimes it's not so clear, so you have to watch out for that. Here's some examples of hidden conditionals. These are things that are conditionals that might not seem like they're conditionals. Cheaters never win. Well, we can rephrase this in if-then form as, if you are a cheater, then you never win. So that's actually a conditional in disguise. For faster service, please press 3. If you would like faster service, then you should press 3, if we wanted to rewrite it in the traditional if-then form. X plus 7 equals 9, therefore x equals 2. Well, this is also a conditional. If x plus 7 equals 9, then x equals 2. So you can see that with conditionals, you have to be a little careful. Sometimes things that don't look like conditionals actually are conditionals.